With fortified clothing, I was ready to get back out there. My furniture barricade now spanned from the Ohio River to the Shady Oaks Retirement Village. All that was left to do was the southern section, but I needed to pass the walls of undead accrued along the way, or wipe them from the map. Heading off on foot, I aimed to do just that. Before I could even reach the street, I was stopped short and made to begin working on the other side of the fence. Given the tight space, I led the dead away to a collection of houses I didn't care about, and separated by roads from those I did. Shotgun blasts rang loud as I drew in what I could and burned the drawn dead to ash and collateral buildings to ruins. Waiting for the flames to extinguish, I killed rogue stragglers and found a new weapon. It was too precious to use here, so I tucked it away and continued my mission. Except now, I could reach and navigate through the street whilst attracting and clustering all those I intended to kill. They were more than I could have imagined, far more than I was prepped for. Yet being on my feet gave me a distinct advantage as I methodically snaked in front of the dead, pulling countless, delaying those close, and giving those further away enough time to catch up. This street would be clear. In the end, the road lay in ruins, but I had restored a small semblance of peace to the area. Given the time, lack of car, and dozens of dead still remaining, returning home was infeasible, so I found myself in another random building, tucked away while waiting for the night and banging to end. Awoken by a zombie banging into a door, I tried silencing the noise so I could continue sleeping. I lacked the tiredness to do so. With the sun rising, I got back to it. Now facing too many, I repeated a process I'd done more times than I could count. Calm walking, intense yelling, and countless aflame dead. Except this was my last Molotov. I hadn't planned to be out here this long. The flames drew too close to the market. Very avoidable, but within the range of error I was accustomed to. The search for more bourbon led me to the nearby townhouses, where I found high-calorie food and a magazine for working on commercial vehicles. But no bourbon. Without the ability to clear larger groups, I needed to get home. That didn't mean I had to get back on foot. With less dead clogging the street, I could now make wider berths around the dead, clustering them tighter and keeping as many as possible following close behind. After wiping out the scraps of the burn-off, I fought by hand through the remaining dead and secured a forward operating base. From here I could extend my wall to split Louisville in two. But how many dead actually came from the southern approach to my base? With the long fence and sparser population, perhaps this was enough. I'd reined in my ambition and successfully gutted the long-term zombie threat. From here on out, while operating within my fortifications, every kill could be treated as permanent. Traveling on foot, I set off to clear the nearby streets by hand. This close to the western front, next to no zombies met my approach, but I soon found what I was looking for. Heading into a new area, I preemptively scouted in my car and accidentally awoke a dormant horde within one of the multi-story apartment complexes. Unchecked, dead would slowly leak out when I was nearby, so I decided to return tomorrow with a plan formulated overnight. The sound of my horn would completely cover the thin building, drawing out all inside into the street where I could gather and burn them safely. After the first roundup, scores followed me to the old burn-off pile by the bank, ready to join their brethren. And again. With the road clear, I drove until I spotted a rogue Zed.
It really did it again.
Somehow, over the dozens of times I'd passed it, this was the first time I'd looked in. I was out of Molotovs.
No, that's dumb. Don't do that.
And with my cars swarmed, I needed to improvise. The back room of the liquor store to the north was unlooted. Molotovs in hand, I returned by weaving the following dead with those drawn in by a car alarm and those still pouring out from the building. Another day, another horde burned. And another. Except at the end of their lives, the stream had finally stopped. I could make my way inside. Emboldened by the empty hallway, I picked a fight, manually clearing what my horn failed to pull out. Late in the day, I called it. Heading to the northwest, I picked up clearing the streets behind my fortifications. And after checking on the awakened buildings, I started to have hope. It almost ended the zombie threat. In fact, there was so little dead left I could safely run through the streets without any contesting me, letting me grab a high-quality van, an assortment of TVs for future barricading, and letting me arrive at the destination of my greatest challenge yet. Grand Ohio Mall. Unlike other dormant buildings, the mall was unique in the sheer quantity I expected to find inside. They hadn't noticed me yet, but they all will. To draw out as many as possible, I drove along the two southern entrances of the mall, honking the horn constantly. Eventually, the undead blocked my path, forcing me to continue gathering them on foot. I was experienced clustering the shambling dead, but nothing close to this. By the end of the first wave, I'd littered the car park with corpses. But with too little time left in the day for another round, I returned home in the rain and lay witness to an omen.
Is it snowing? No way. Suppose that's not good.
The first snowfall had come. I had all the resources I could want for winter and the ability to get more, but if the dead were allowed to pour out of the mall, I'd lose all the freedom I'd fought so hard to get. So I honked outside the entrances again, more determined than ever. The lack of light against the background of corpses and ash made discerning the moving shadows strenuous, but still doable as I gathered a new horde to burn. The quantity of dead had waned, and on that note, I tackled the northeast entrance next.
No, not the Spiffo suit. Bye, Spiffo suit. Corpse survived.
Running out of daylight and patience for those within, I looted the boots of the nearby police cars before heading home. With shotgun ammo from the cops, my new plan was to use it within the building to pull those too far for my horn. But first, I needed to kill those at the entrance. I was in. Near the edge of how far the noise of the horn or gunshots had carried, began clearing the area. But needed to retreat when reloading as the funnel dead proved faster than I could kill them. Now apparent my shotgun wasn't enough, I gathered the drawn dead into another clump and set them alight. Weirdly, the flames seemed to linger on the concrete pad. Rather than trying to wipe them out, I snaked through the food court, ensuring I dragged out as many as possible. The fire was still going. Worse yet, it spread, changing a run-of-the-mill burn-off into a precarious situation as I tried to stop the dead carrying the flames closer, but watched them all catch alight anyways.
It's like concrete. Why is it all burning?
Something wasn't right, but I had to deal with it. With the dead gone, I lacked the water to extinguish the flames. so I unloaded the area to stop the fire from spreading, pausing my attempt to clear the mall until the next rainfall. With time to kill, I did general maintenance on the base.
Really?
Grabbed a gruntier car and set about towing or pushing vehicles off of the road. I also took the opportunity to traverse streets I hadn't been on in a long time, protecting my main routes from those who would approach. In the relative calm, I took a pause to reflect. I killed thousands of undead with my hands, and countless more with fire. What was I going to do once I finally secured the neighborhood? With rainfall, the question was left unanswered. I still had a mall to clear. The rain made quick work of the fire, so I continued pressing forward. Eventually, I found myself to the north of the building using my axe to kill stragglers. It wasn't fast enough, so I left for the last entrance of the mall, the northwest. Another entranceway was ruined, but this one still had plenty of fight. I was getting exhausted, necessitating a retreat home and a rethink of my approach to the leftover dead. M9 pistol in hand, I left for the mall through the dark, rain and fog. High capacity for ammo with my higher aiming skill let me match the dead pulled outside and carried me further in. Excluding an ammo reloading break, I didn't stop my assault on the scraps left in the building. With no dead left in sight, I entered the gun store, grabbing scarves for neck protection, gun mods, and more shotgun shells, all with the purpose of a future fight I would not find here. On my way home, I scouted the outside of the mall for any surviving dead, made sure to stop any stragglers I encountered. Helicopter. Should be scared, should be panicking, but what threat was left? Making my way to the intersection, I waited for a large horde to come, anything to put my existence into question. But nothing came. Then and there, something dawned on me. With my vast stores of food and water, a large and well-fortified base, near infinite fuel from the gas stations within my walls, and the end of the zombie threat. I had done it. I had finally conquered the insanely infested streets of Louisville. And I was done.